Who's ready for college basketball season to begin?
This guy.
These two guys right here, and another guy too, Seth Davis. Welcome back here to the Download. I'm Ray Crawford filling in for Bonnie Bernstein here today. Let's welcome in Seth Davis, who joins us. And Seth, thanks for being with us. We'll start this with a very simple question. Who's your #1 team in the country?
Ray, I went with the Michigan State Spartans. They have 2 lottery picks on their team in Gary Harris, who's a sophomore guard, Adrian Payne, who's a senior forward, would have been a first-round pick if he came out. They had a very good team last year, only lost one guy in Derek Nix, and they had a lot of injury issues, especially Gary Harris had some shoulder issues. Brendan Dawson with his knee. Travis Trice has some head issues. They're healthy, they're together, they're big, they're talented, and they're experienced, and that's why they're my #1.
Seth, come on, man. I think you're just making sure you're not too partial to your alma mater, but it's got to be Duke, I think, simply because you talk about experience. Well, Duke has that, but they also have talent. They got great guard play, which is another thing that's essential. Quinn Cook is a star. Rashid Suleiman's getting better with every season. The transfer Rodney Hood's going to be great, and Jabari Parker may be the best freshman in the land. There's so much talent on this team. I love them as my #1 team. Seth, I respect you remaining impartial, but Duke's got to be that team. Got to be.
You said it, I didn't.
Okay, guys, I can't help but wonder. The #1 team, correct me if I'm wrong, is Kentucky, which neither one of you mentioned. Seth, what's your reservations on the Wildcats?
That I'm not very bright, first of all, obviously, but with this we already knew. But, clearly, Ray, it's their lack of experience. They lead the nation, I would say, in best overall NBA future talent, although I think Kansas gives them a run for their money in that category. But if you look back at their championship team 2 years ago, we all remember Anthony Davis, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, Marcus Teague running the point, but they had older veteran players in key roles. Terrence Jones, Deron Lamb, and also Darius Miller, who was a senior sixth man who played a critical role. They don't have those guys this year. So if Kentucky's going to win a championship, it's going to have to be basically with all freshmen. Not saying it's impossible. I just think it's very difficult to do.
Seth, I think you're absolutely right. But Kentucky has always had great talent every season. And look how last season ended with this team. This team ended up losing to Bobby Morris in the first round of the NIT with obviously the talent unfulfilled, not getting to where they wanted to get to. You look at this roster, yeah, there's a lot of talent, but these freshmen, like the ones you alluded to earlier, and Kidd-Gilchrist and Anthony Davis, incredibly mature guys surrounded by other mature guys. These freshmen aren't quite as mature, at least from what I've seen early on, so I think it's a lot to put on a team and say this team could go run the table and go undefeated is just madness. I think they're going to struggle early on.
So the season officially gets underway at midnight on Friday, and we're going to obviously see, I think, some more whistles. These new rules allowing more movement and freedom of play to try and make more offense, make it tougher to play defense. Jordan, is this good for college basketball?
I mean, to increase the scoring, I get it, like make fouls, call a lot more to get more points, but that's boring to me. I don't want to pay good money or turn on a tube to watch the most talented kids in America beat each other in a glorified game of who can make more free throws. It's a glorified thing of horse. I don't want to see that. If that's what you want to see a game decided by, then Seth, go put on one of your bad Duke t-shirts, put on your old Converse. Me and you can go out there and outshoot each other, see who's better. I think it's a horrible way to decide it. I know you're big on this rule, but I hate it. I want to see guys go out there, defend, play physical basketball. I don't want to see the officials take that away from the game and have the team, whoever shoots better free throws, beat the other team. I think it's horrible.
Jordan, you ignorant slut. I could not disagree with you more on this. If you want to talk about boring basketball, I would recommend you go back and watch the Georgetown-Tennessee game last year. I think the final was 37-34 or something thereabouts. Last year was the most abysmal offensive season in the modern era of college basketball. Scoring was down, percentages was down, and yes, fouls being called was down. If you look at the product of college basketball versus the product of the NBA has done a great job instituting hand-checking rules, making it a less physical game and more aesthetically pleasing. I do agree with you, Jordan, that there are going to be some more fouls called in the early going. I think the players will adjust. I think the coaches will adjust. I don't think the referees are going to adjust because they've been giving a very clear edict, not only with some new rules, but also some added points of emphasis and how these are going to be called. That is a very small price to pay for better offensive basketball. And, guys, I predict to you that this is only the start of opening up the game. I think eventually college basketball is going to have to go to a shorter shot clock, at least down down to 30 seconds, and then we can start talking about moving the three-point line back and making the lane wider. But for right now, I think this is a very important change, and it's a long time overdue.
Oh, the old traditionalist, not too much too soon.
That's just because the only way Seth could beat his opponent is from the free throw line. So he wants to make sure that's how the game's decided. Great points, though, Seth.
True.
Yeah.
That is true.
Seth, great to see you as always. Thanks very much.
Thanks, guys.
Jordan, thank you as well.